Oh, hello there. Yes, well, the start of another week. Despite the fact I'm going to go to work, I'm officially on holiday. I think it's a bit of a contradiction, and today's video is about contradictions. Yes, indeed. First of all, a quick word to any Americans that may be looking at this after various chats we had at the weekend. All I can say is, I'm sure your God is definitely the right one. Yes, I'm going to hell. And no, you're definitely not. Okay, let's clarify that particular one. Anyway, yesterday we had one of those sort of very standard commentatory style things in the Daily Telegraph from Zoe Strimple, who these commentators who got absolutely everything out of the education system that their parents paid for often are most insistent that the rest of us shouldn't have it. We aren't allowed to read proper, basically. Anyway, I did have to smile at this for reasons that will become very apparent. It's time to be blunt. Too many young people have worthless degrees. Yes, I'd be delighted if my child wanted to become a plumber or electrician, far happier than if she went for a politics degree. Yes, now, let's think about that, shall we? Because the thing about Zoe, okay, very posh gal, Hampstead posh gal, is, of course, that she went the archetypal route of very posh school, and then, she did a degree in English, didn't she? Which is, yeah, I'm sorry, but if there's one particular degree that you can do that is comprehensively useless, it's going to be English. Okay? Like reading, bit of a Jane Austen fan, do English. Useless degree. End of. Okay? I don't care if you went to Cambridge, which she did. I don't care. It's useless, right? She then went on to do an MPhil in gender studies, right? Okay, now a lot of people slag me off because, my base degree was in sociology. But at least it's something, isn't it? It gives you a view of the world. However, of course, gender studies, yes. In her piece, you can link down below, you can read it. In her piece, she does slag off people with sociology degrees, like herself, presumably. And then did a PhD in modern British history at the University of Sussex, yes, on the business practices of feminist publishers in the 1970s. And you can see how important that was in terms of lots of things, yes. Now, I'm a great believer in education because I work in education. I think that when you can expect, with the right influences around you, you can really, really, really develop your own particular worldview. That hasn't quite worked in Zoe's case, unfortunately, and no, she wouldn't be happy if her daughter became a plumber. Because if we think about degrees, okay, yes, you can slag off individual degrees, and it's become one of those kind of accepted truths, which actually isn't true. That if you do a useless degree, like Zoe did, for example, you're unemployable. A bit like I presume Zoe is, because she certainly can't plumb, if nothing else. However, right, okay, I just want to dig this out, right, okay, because I was thinking about something I read a while ago about the base degrees of senior barristers, and some of them have law degrees, but the vast majority of them don't. Let's have a look at this, right? The Sutton Trust Kirby study showed that 71% of barristers and 74% of judges attended independent schools, compared to 7% of the UK population. 78% of barristers and 74% of judges attended Oxbridge, compared with under 1% of the UK population. Yes, it doesn't matter what degree you have, it matters what school you went to and what your parents did in terms of social networking as to whether or not you go rise to the top of that profession. So I'm sorry, Zoe, you can discount people with useless degrees, but if you went to Eton and you get a useless degree, you're probably going to end up earning a vast amount of money. Just look at Boris Johnson. Anyway, moving on from that particular one, we also had a particular TikTok thing from GB News, which was placed up, which caught my eye. Chris Rose, everybody's favourite, definitely very black guy, wrote this, okay? A local resident in Hare Hill Sleaze describes being told just over a week ago to take that figging England top off, get out of our area. I've lived around here for 59 years, and to see my beloved Hare Hills like this is heartbreaking. For me, it's become a no-go zone area. It's horrible. This guy's certainly not alone with his views. We constantly get told that no-go areas don't exist by people who refuse to acknowledge the issues with integration or only play lip service when it personally affects them. Yes, indeed. Now, the thing I find strange about that is I can't find the fact that GB News had interviewed anyone else in that area. Okay, so they managed to find this guy with his particular views. I'm going to be intrigued as to what that button pin on him actually is. He's got a kind of mod-style scooter roundel thing on his chest, but I don't know what that pin badge on his collar is. I think it's a particular right-wing organisation, but I can't actually prove that. I might just be being biased like the liberal media elite that I am. But of course the bitter irony of this is this bloke is standing at the epicentre of that particular disturbance in Hare Hills. You know, the no-go zone that he can't go into, which he's being interviewed in. Yeah. It's like all those people that get cancelled and then have an interview in the Daily Telegraph and go and have a long chat with somebody for an hour on GB News before eventually, of course, sitting down with that nice Mr. Chris Whittle on a Sunday. Yeah, just have a chat about how they can't say anything. Yes, anyway, those kind of things always amuse me. Yes, as I say, I used to live in that part of the world. I never had any problems as a white bloke walking around. But maybe that's just me as a metropolitan liberal elite, and I'm just pretending that I wasn't racially abused. I think the only people that have potentially racially abused me in my life is people on the right having a go at me because I've got an Irish surname. Okay, even though I'm not Irish. But there you are. Irishness is passed down the male line. Apparently, it's the way it works. Yeah, genetically, I'm about as Irish as an Irish-themed pub. But that's another thing. Anyway, maybe I should go to Hare Hills and GB News won't interview me. No, wrong opinions. Anyway, do keep up with your own wrong opinions. This, I hope, is becoming the channel for those of us that don't necessarily follow any particular meta-narratives. Just as a nod back to yesterday. Anyway, do enjoy. Have a lovely day. It's going to be quite warm again. Hurrah for the proper English summer. Best summers in the world, obviously.